Hey guys, Eternal7 here, and today I am basically just going to be making a video about my to be read books for December. Now, since this month has already started about 5 days ago, I've already read about 3 books so far. Currently reading my fourth, pretty average length books, I must say. So the first book I started out with was The Two Towers, and The Fellowship of the Ring was the first book, or the last book that I read in November. So I was basically continuing it off on the 1st of December. Now, believe I have read these books when I was in 5th grade, and then I watched the movies a year afterwards. However, I thought it was due for a reread. And I must say, The Two Towers writing style is quite different in comparison to The Fellowship of the Ring. It's a lot more descriptive and more wordy, which is not exactly a turnoff, but it's kind of an observation. Definitely not as good as Fellowship of the Ring, but similar to the movies as well. Fellowship of the Ring is quite a lot better movie-wise, so I mean, I guess this is just kind of the equivalent to that. Then second book I read, Return of the King. Return of the King also has the same thing with The Two Towers. It's vastly different from the writing style of Fellowship of the Ring. It's very wordy and extremely descriptive. Actually, I would say more so than The Two Towers, especially because it's a little bit longer. The first half is a bit slow. It is. It's kind of it takes a while for like stuff to actually get going. And I will admit, even the movie, as great as that film is, it still suffered from the same problem. So I kind of knew it was going to get better. And, the scenes with, Sam, Frodo, and Smeagol are absolutely amazing, too. Because, that's always the thing I thought was the most interesting about Lord of the Rings was Sam and Frodo. Because it kind of was their story. We kind of saw it through their eyes. So I enjoyed their stuff the most. But overall, these 2 books are really great. I'm not sure if I would say they're better than the movies. They're pretty on par. There's things I like more about the books, and there's things that I like more about the movie. So it's just kind of in the middle for me. And then the third book I read was something that I pulled off of my English teacher's shelf. It's called Bronx Masquerade. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it's from like the 2000s. It's basically about these kids from like impoverished areas, writing poetry and presenting it out to the class and stuff. And we also get their backstory before they share their poem. And it sounds really cool, and I was really interested when I first heard of the synopsis. But when I started reading it, it just kind of became a very just generic young adult novel, and I really didn't care about it all that much. Not bad, but just not really for me. And then there comes the fourth book that I am currently reading right now, which is Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan. That's his name. Now, when I was over at my grandma's house this Thanksgiving, I asked her if I could borrow this. And, my grandma has millions of books about Christianity. And this just happened to be one of the ones in the shelf in the room I was staying in. And it looked interesting because I knew about this book from Scholars Bowl. This is academic bowl team that I was on. And, I recognized John Bunyan with the Pilgrim's Progress. I'm like, maybe I want to read this. And as you can see, I'm about almost a quarter of the way through it. And it's pretty good so far. I mean, again, like, I'm about 60 pages in, so there's not really much to say. I mean, it hasn't even really gotten into the main source yet. But it is pretty cool. It's like this neat little story about this man's, path to self-righteousness. It's really cool. Again, because this was written in the 1670s, it is a bit slow. It is a bit dated. Some of the language does not age well at all. But so far, I mean, I think there's some good potential for it the farther it goes. Then we have the fifth book. Now, this is where we start getting the books that I have not read yet, and that is John Grisham, The Runaway Jury, yeah. Now, my experiences with John Grisham have been sort of little. I've read Time to Kill, his most popular. I thought it was fine. I wasn't really super into it, even though I love court cases or court case dramas. That just didn't really work for me. The Firm was hardly really much of a court case drama, and was just more so of it was about a law firm and nothing really much more interesting about it. I was pretty underwhelmed with that one. Now, I did like one of his newer books, Sully, about a South Sudanese basketball player who plays for the NBA. I thought that was a really terrific novel. And it was almost like he does better at writing what he usually doesn't write. So I will admit I'm probably not going to love this one since I didn't like his other two really famous law books, but I thought it was worth a try nonetheless. Now, let's get to the books that I do not own copies of. I actually have on hold at the library. Now, the next book that I am planning on reading is Know My Name by Chanel Miller. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her first name right, but basically this is a memoir about a pretty serious issue. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but it seemed really interesting. Of course, if you go on good readings, the rating is extremely high. It's like about 4.7. So, I mean, I was a bit interested with that. Now, I'm usually not a huge fan of memoirs. You know, I like to keep it fiction for the most part. But, you know, I definitely would like to check that one out sometime soon. Now, the seventh book that I am planning on reading is Game of Thrones, A Clash of Kings. Now, basically with this book, I read the first one back a few months ago. Actually, in my writing vlog, if you go back, I was actually reading it when making it. And, you know, I did really like it a lot. You know, I thought it was, you know, really cool, you know, epic scope and all that stuff. However, it was a bit long, a bit overdrawn, and I was a little bit nervous, especially because all the other books are longer than the first one. So, I mean, if it gets longer than that, like, who knows how overdrawn it would be. And I just kind of realized, you know, I'm not up for that, like, really epic, grand in scale storytelling yet. I may be in the future, but just, you know, at that time, you know, I kind of wanted to stick to, you know, shorter books to kind of clear my mind. But I think I'm more ready for that pace. And A Clash of Kings seems really cool, and I am definitely excited about it. And then there is Storm of Swords, I believe, the third book. Now, that one I am very much interested in checking out, too. You know, very high Goodreads rating. The only thing that's really concerning is that it's about 400,000 words, that's like the same length as like The Stand or Les Mis. So this is a very chunky novel. And I'm only going to stick to 2 Game of Thrones books for that month because, you know, I don't really want to go overboard or anything. And the last book that is on my to be read list is The Godfather. Now, lately I've been doing a thing where I read books that are based on or that became famous movies. Like, you know, I read The Green Mile, absolutely fantastic, so good. What else? Wise Guy, which is Goodfellas is based off of. You know, I absolutely love Goodfellas, and Wise Guys is quite literally just the book version of it, and it's absolutely perfect. Rebecca, the Hitchcock movie, or the one by which is based on the book by. Sorry, I forgot her name, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I've definitely experienced a lot of good with that. So, The Godfather, I'm expecting to be quite a masterpiece. Maybe not as good as the movie, but I still have my expectations really high. So, basically, that was just my to be read list. I could add some more later on. I usually read about 15 to 20 books in a month. I know that's really fast. But these are just the ones that I plan on reading and have said. Oh, and I forgot to mention one. Dune McKee is the 10th book on my my list. I forgot one. Yeah, Dune McKee by Stephen King. This is also another long book too. I believe it's like 700 pages. Super interested in checking that one out. Looks really cool. I love, you know, isolated island type stories. It's probably one of the biggest books that I haven't read by him because I've read like over 50. So, I mean, the most popular book I haven't read by him is probably still kind of minor, but it looks super interesting and I can't wait to read it. But yeah, that was my list. Thank you guys all for watching. Really appreciate it. And yeah, see ya.